G'day guys, today I'm going to be doing a review on the 75 litre dual zone fridge freezer by Kickass. And I'll just start by saying this fridge freezer definitely does kick ass. It is awesome. So I bought this fridge 2 years ago, about the exact same time as it is now, and we're in, what are we in, July. Yeah, so it was July 2 years ago I bought this fridge. And I've had it running on and off that whole time. Mostly I've had it running, except for when I didn't have permanent solar on my car, so I couldn't justify running it all the time as I didn't drive very far to work, so it wouldn't have time to charge up the batteries to run it constantly. But apart from that, even running it on cycles on and off, it has worked flawlessly. I've never had an issue with the fridge whatsoever. It is, like I said, a dual zone fridge freezer, so you can run one side as a fridge, one side as a freezer, both sides as a fridge, both sides as a freezer. You can choose which one is which, so I can have the small side as the fridge and the big side as the freezer, or vice versa. And you can also turn off one bin individually and just have a single freezer or a single fridge running, which is how I run it most of the time. So as I just mentioned, the bins are two different sizes, which I really like. This one on the right hand side is a lot bigger. I would say it would be a 50 litre and that would be a 25, going off their 75 litre kind of marketing. That would be my rough guesstimate. I couldn't find exact measurements on their website. If I'm wrong though, please correct me down in the comments, but yeah, I couldn't find the exact dimensions of it. This fridge it draws about 2.2 to 2.5 amp hour, running both compartments, one as a fridge, one as a freezer, which is how most people are going to run it. I was drawing on average 2.5 to probably 3 amp hours. On their website they advertise about 2.2, but that's obviously going to be perfect conditions, and this is real world testing, like sitting in a black box in the sun. So, but it's still very good for like how much power it uses. I run it off two 100 amp hour deep cycle batteries, and I've never had it run flat. I've ran it for 3 days, no charge, and it was still, the battery was still sitting at about 70%. So it's excellent on power usage. I'll go into a couple of specs quickly. I've got the specs here. So the size, the length of it is 835 mils, including the handles on both sides. The height is 520 mil with the bag, which I have the bag on. I reckon it makes it look better, and it protects it a bit as well. And the depth is 505 mil, including the latches on the front. So it's a beefy size fridge, but it's no bigger than any other in its class. And yeah, they are quite deep as well, which I really like. They take up a lot less space width and lengthways than they do their depth, and I find that's the dimension you usually have the most of to work with is your depth, or your height, sorry. So I'm kind of glad they did it this way instead of making it big and wide and long, because yeah, this can slide in between a lot of places a lot better. So as you'll see on the front, I'll start from the top. So these latches, their latching system is really good. They use a big rubber seal around the whole perimeter of the lid that recesses into a smooth plastic channel on the inside here. So it actually sits inside of that channel. You might be able to see it there. I'll get a close-up of that, which makes these seal really well. These barely lose temperature like over time. If you watch the temperature gauge, it takes a good, running at the fridge side, like it'll take a good 20 to 30 minutes before the compressor actually has to kick back in to cool it back down. That's how efficient they are at keeping their temp. And that also helps with that are these latches. So they use an over center style latch, which pulls down on that seal really hard. And I really like these latches. I know like Domestics use those like plastic handles, and I know they work, but they just don't feel secure. Like I felt like my mate's got a Dometic and you clip them in and they feel like they could just bump open like on rough roads. I know they don't, but this way you know it's never going to come open on you. It's a little bit more fiddly, but it's nothing that would affect the way the fridge works. So moving down, it's got a 12 volt socket on the front, SIGGI port, and also 2 USB ports here. It has a third one down here, but this was the only big gripe I could say about the bag. There's 2 actually about the bag. They didn't really design this properly. So here there's a clear plastic cover over the front of the screen where all your controls are. And that USB port is in that screen, so you can't get to it with the cover on. Like, you can try and wiggle around it and stuff, but it's just not really viable. So you can cut that section out, you can make it work, but I think that was just a bit of an oversight when they were designing the bag about that. But in saying that, you don't really need 3 USBs on the front of your fridge. It's very handy, don't get me wrong. I use these a lot for just charging phones quickly and stuff. Plugging it in here is really convenient, especially being at the front of the canopy. But yeah, so the cover also has a pocket here, which I just keep miscellaneous stuff in. I've got like shackles and stuff in there at the moment. But that pocket's really handy if you want to put like spices like salt and pepper, all of that kind of stuff would go really well in there. And it used to have a big mesh pocket here, but that has ripped off. It started to rip a bit, and yeah, eventually it did rip off. So that's the only other thing about the fridge cover that I could complain about. The fridge cover is connected by magnets, so it's really easy to take on and off if you wanted to. It literally just clips onto the fridge with magnets and sits really tight. It's excellent, the fridge cover. I really do like it. I love how it looks. I reckon it makes the fridge look a lot better, and it's protected it wherever I've taken it, so that's also really good. So onto vents, it's got a small vent on the front here, a big vent on the side here, and one big vent on the back as well. So I keep an air gap all the way around this. I find it keeps it like as efficient as possible, having as much air around your vents as you can. Obviously, space is premium in some people's setups, so you can't afford to have all the air gap, but if you can, it'll make it run a lot better. Speaking of compressor, these run a genuine C-Cop compressor, which is the same compressor you'll find in your Dometics and your Wacos. Danfoss, C-Cop, they go by the same name. I think one bought out the other or something, but they're a proven compressor and they work really well. When I was researching fridges, when I was looking at getting a fridge, I couldn't justify spending, I think I'll put up the price, I can't remember exactly how much they were, but a very similar sized Dometic was a lot more expensive than what this was, especially at the $9.50 that I paid. And the other thing that drew me towards it, they have a 5-year warranty on these fridges. So in 5 years' time, if it did break down, that's $200 a year you've gotten out of that fridge. And I think it's just an excellent price. You really can't go past it, I don't think. If you're looking for a fridge at this size in the market, there isn't much better than it. Yeah, you'd be very hard pressed to find a better value for money fridge than this. So to sum up my final thoughts, I think it's an excellent fridge freezer. It freezes really well, gets all the way down to -22. You can set it at like, I think, +14 or something, but who would ever do that? It freezes really well, it holds temp really well. The temperature doesn't fluctuate too much, I think about 3 degrees, which is very normal for a fridge freezer, like a 12 volt one. And yeah, it's held in on the side by straps either side that hold it down, and I've never had an issue with it moving. It's also in these little tracks on mine, but yeah. So just a few things I forgot to say when I was recording before. Yeah, really hard to remember when you try and do it all in one take. So it has a recessed Anderson plug on the side. So it sits level downwards like that, and your Anderson plug's up into it. So it doesn't stick out at all from the fridge. It's completely level there, and you won't get anything caught on it. It also has 240 volt power like access built in, so it has a plug for a 240 volt plug that it comes with. So if you're going on a big trip, you can cool it down the night before off 240, put all your stuff in, cool it off your house power, so you're not draining your batteries the night before you go away. It doesn't really matter if you're going on a big drive that next day, but if you're only going local or 1 hour or so away, you don't want to be drawing all your juice out of here, like out of your batteries on your car or whatever you're using it in, and then have no way to recharge them. So it's better if you've got a small battery set up to do it that way for 240. Another quick thing, it has an app, which I forgot to mention. I don't use it much. I'll put like some clips in of the app now, but I find the range on it isn't that great. So with the fridge in the trailer, going through the trailer, through the wall of the trailer, through the wall of the canopy, through the back wall of my car, I can't access it from the car. And that would be the main thing that I would use it for, is checking while I'm driving. Because when you get to camp, it's pretty easy to open your door and see if it's working. But when you're driving, if you want to be like, oh, is the fridge working? That would be the main thing. In the back of my canopy, when it was on the back of my ute, I could get really patchy reception. So my girlfriend in the passenger seat, because it was on the passenger side of the car, if she turned a bit, she'd be able to get it to work and we'd be able to check it. But then again, it's not really easy then. I'd rather just have it either not know at all or know. But if it was in the back of a wagon or something, I'm sure it'd work really well. And you can check all your temps, you can control all your temperatures. You can do everything you can do on the fridge in the app, which is really cool. Like, that is a really good feature that they built in. I just wish the range was a little bit better, but that is the only gripe I could have about probably the whole fridge, to be honest. The rest of it's pretty flawless, as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, if you guys are in the market for a fridge freezer, dual zone or single zone, you can run this big one big single zone. They're on special at the moment for $950. So I'm recording this on the 22nd of July. 2021. So at the moment they have them for $950 instead of $1,350, which is actually what I got it for 2 years ago. And I would buy another one in a heartbeat if I needed another one. It has been an excellent fridge. So I really hope you guys enjoy this review, and I really hope you go give Australian Direct and Kickass a look at, because their gear is awesome. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and have a good one.